Of all the Stoic qualities, the only one that cannot be simulated is courage. One can simulate wisdom, simulate justice, and even simulate temperance, but at some point in life, it will be necessary to confront problems. To face them, it is essential to have courage. It is worth noting that courage should not be confused with madness or taking excessive risks. In addition, having courage does not mean complete absence of fear, anger, or sadness. Courage is the virtue that makes it possible to act correctly, regardless of circumstances. A brave person can feel fear, which is natural, but still act according to his convictions, doing what he considers correct and necessary in each situation. Running away from problems is not a viable solution, as this only makes them more difficult. Historically, courageous individuals face obstacles, overcome them and transform them in their own way. An example of this is the story of Hercules, when he reached adulthood. Faced with uncertainty about his path, he fell asleep and had a dream. Two paths emerged, each accompanied by a woman, virtue and pleasure. Pleasure offered Hercules the promise of an easy, sweet and challenge-free path, without difficulties or sorrows, providing pleasures with minimal effort. On the other hand, virtue explained to Hercules the reality of things, emphasizing that the gods do not grant anything to men without effort. If he wanted to achieve something, he would need to strive to achieve it. Virtue proposed a difficult path, with possible rewards, but it would require great sacrifices. Hercules chose the path of virtue, opting for a purposeful life filled with challenges, hard work and sacrifice. He bravely faced everything he needed to do until he reached the status of a god. Like Hercules, Stoic individuals choose the path of virtue over ease. To act with virtue, courage is indispensable. In this video, I will address the theme of courage, which is the second of the four Stoic virtues. It is possible that you already know the narrative of the Battle of Thermopylae, in which the Persian army of King Xerxes, numbering 300,000 soldiers, threatened to destroy all of Greece. Faced with the lack of coordination of the Greek armies to defend themselves from the Persian invaders, the king of Sparta, Leonidas, decides to face them to buy time, allowing the Greeks to organize themselves. Unable to lead the Spartan army into battle due to religious issues, Leonidas leaves for the pass of Thermopylae with 300 men of his personal guard. They were fully aware that facing 300,000 soldiers was a suicidal act, without any chance of victory. However, they understood that this was what they had to do, considering it their duty as Spartans and Greeks. They were probably fearful at the prospect of dying, but they did not allow it to affect their judgment of what was right. This is courage, to face a complex situation that would push them to the limit, and despite this, to act correctly, facing the problem instead of running away from it. The 300 Spartans lost their lives at Thermopylae, including King Leonidas. However, thanks to their sacrifice and courage, the Greeks were able to organize themselves in Salamis and Plataea, where they defeated the Persians. The courage of the 300 Spartans saved all of Greece. This story is a clear example of courage. Legend has it that Leonidas descended from Hercules himself. Undoubtedly, both are outstanding examples of Stoic bravery. Stoics did not seek risk or intentionally put themselves in dangerous situations. They did not avoid danger or unpleasant situations. However, when they believed that something more important was at stake, they did not hesitate to face these situations. For the Stoics, courage is fundamental to possess the other three virtues: wisdom, justice, and temperance. Acting rationally implies acting with wisdom, justice, and temperance, and to act in this way, it is necessary to possess courage. It is essential to have the courage to confront one's ego, the courage to challenge prejudices and approach the truth, the courage to recognize and correct one's mistakes, even if it is painful, and the courage to face external opinions. In addition, it is necessary to have courage to seek to achieve the desired goals and admit the areas in which it is possible to effect changes. To develop our courage, we must focus on three essential aspects. The first is to cultivate our sense of responsibility. This implies reflecting on the things that are under our responsibility and being aware of the meaning of this commitment. Being responsible means caring and protecting, and when something does not go as expected, we recognize that it is our responsibility. A historical example of this principle is found in the story of the 300 Spartans, who, when preparing for battle, were aware that they were responsible for protecting and defending their city and its inhabitants. Facing such a numerous enemy was a responsibility they took on, knowing that the lives of many people depended on them. The second aspect is to understand what is under our control and what is not. In many situations that provoke fear, it is crucial to distinguish between what we can control and what is beyond our control. This clarity is key to developing courage. Recognizing that there are situations that do not depend on us is crucial to avoid unnecessary anxiety and focus our efforts on what we can influence and change. Stoic courage arises from fundamental questions. If something that frightens me is totally out of my control, what is the point of feeling afraid of something that I cannot influence? If the actions of others are not under our control, why fear the actions of others if the external does not have the power to harm us, being only our own thoughts capable of affecting us? Individuals historically reflected on these issues so as not to succumb to fear, whether in the face of poverty, public opinion, disease, or even death. Being historical does not necessarily imply being foolish or brave, for courage goes beyond the simple act of being audacious. True courage is devoid of fear, for it recognizes that ultimately there is nothing to fear. Thirdly, courage must be practiced daily. In the words of Seneca, there is no less fortunate person than the one whom diversity forgets, since he does not have the opportunity to test his own courage. Thus, it is crucial to practice courage through small everyday actions, stepping out of the comfort zone and daring to gradually accomplish uncomfortable things. Getting into the habit of being brave is important, because at some point we will all face situations that will require courage to overcome them. Don't let these situations catch you unprepared. Train your courage daily. As you reflect on this virtue, I look forward to your response in the comments. I hope this video inspires you to become more courageous in the face of challenging situations. Remember that courage means acting correctly even in the presence of fear or in the face of adverse circumstances, and therefore it must always be accompanied by prudence. It is not about acting impulsively, but about acting purposefully, taking risks for the greater good. I encourage you to incorporate this Stoic virtue into your life, following the example of figures such as Hercules and Leonidas. I leave here 2 additional videos for you to continue learning about Stoicism. See you next time.